Al na 2 jaar verlaat de Israëlische ambassadeur Naor Gilon zijn Nederlandse standplaats. We blikken met hem terug op zijn tijd in Nederland. Hoe heeft de coronapandemie zijn werk beïnvloed en veranderd? Welkom bij Uitgelicht. Goedenavond. Naor Gilon, de Israëlische ambassadeur in Nederland, verlaat de ambassade in Den Haag en vertrekt naar New Delhi in India. Maar gedurende de 2 jaar dat hij hier Israël vertegenwoordigde, was alles in ambassadeursland anders dan anders, dankzij de coronapandemie. Nu te gast, Naor Gilon, de Israëlische ambassadeur in Nederland. Good evening, Mr. Gilon.
Good evening.
And good to have you back.
Always a pleasure to be here.
For the 4th time.
Yeah, in 2 years. Good.
In 2 years. And the last time.
Last, unfortunately.
Because you're leaving.
Yes.
Why?
It's the ministry which asked me to go to India. It was not my idea. I think now when the end of the mission is coming, it seems too short, 2 years. And I do believe it's too short, both on the professional and the private side of life. But, we see our work as Israeli diplomats as a mission. It's not a working place. And when the mission calls me to go to India, I go to India.
And you go, yeah. Did you knew the Netherlands before you came here?
Yeah. Unlike, by the way, India, which I have never visited, I must confess, I've been to the Netherlands quite many times. So I've been here as a tourist, I've been here on work. I organized in 1997, I think it was, the first visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu in his first term. So I've been here over the years quite a few times.
Yeah, and you had expectations, I think. And 2 years later, are they still there?
Yeah, I mean, I knew exactly what I'm coming for or to. I think if I have disappointment, it's probably due to COVID, because COVID was really, of course, for everyone, COVID was a problem. Diplomatic work is all about personal contact. And this was in a large part deprived from us in the last year and a half. And also on the personal level, we have children and grandchildren in Israel, and we hope that we will be able to shuttle more often. So also and my father, who is older, so things were also on the personal level a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, sure. Some people say the Netherlands and Israel have a special bond. Is that also in a diplomatic way?
I'm trying to be positive always. So I grew up on very, very intimate relations between our two countries. Yeah. So I still remember, I think we spoke about it, the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, after the 73, the Yom Kippur War, that the Netherlands stood by Israel. The relations today are very good, are really good relations, very mature, good trade, good tourism before COVID, good ties between the leaderships. It's not intimate. No. It's very good, but I don't think we have the intimacy we used to have in the past.
Okay, but it's friendly, you can tell.
Yeah.
And friends can tell each other the truth.
Yeah, and both our people, Dutch and Israelis, are known to be very direct. So we always had candid and direct talks. It's not that I always agreed, or we always agreed, but we agreed to disagree, and we told each other our opinions very clearly and openly.
Okay, what's the most disappointing thing about the Netherlands in the past 2 years for you?
I don't think that it's about the Netherlands. I would go back to the COVID. I think the fact that I could not do what I hoped to do in many things. For example, we were planning a series of events to commemorate 70 years of diplomatic relations. So we wanted to do cultural and other events and visits and things, and nothing at the end happened. So we did the first event, COVID came, and everything else really stopped. So it's not about the Netherlands, it's more about the COVID. And I would guess that most of my colleagues around the world, if you would ask them, they will tell you the same thing, that COVID really interrupted their plans and their hopes, professional hopes.
If we talk about COVID, your country was way ahead compared to other countries to fight COVID. Where did it go wrong?
No, I think that we still are ahead, and I will explain.
But we cannot visit Israel.
Yeah, but what happened is Israel, in a way, is being the test bed of the world, because we were the first one to seriously, in large quantities, vaccinate in 2 vaccinations. And then we knew, all experts said that there is a period of grace that you get from the vaccination. It's not indefinite. So after 5-6 months, we saw a decline in the antibodies and the protection to the people. And that's why we went to the third vaccination. If you look at it, it's true, by the way, that our numbers are quite high now of infected people. In Israel, a country of 9 million, we have like 600 severe cases. 90% of them are non-vaccinated, and the majority of the population is vaccinated. So in real percentage,
like here in the Netherlands,
in real percentage, it's much, much more. The people who are not vaccinated and are severely infected. And also in the 10% which have been vaccinated, now our studies show that most of them, if they don't have other problems, health issues, they come out of it, even if they are severe. So even when the COVID attacks them, their body is able to climb out of the hard position, while non-vaccinated are much more vulnerable.
Yeah, but your government even wants to vaccinate children.
For this, but we are waiting for FDA. So while the third vaccination, we didn't wait for FDA, we went forward with adults. When it comes to children, we will wait probably for FDA approval for the Pfizer vaccination.
Do you think we have to live with COVID in the future? Like fever?
For a period, for quite a while, for sure. For quite a while, for sure, until there will be enough worldwide vaccination. That's what the experts say, that will eradicate over time. But it will take a few years, the whole COVID thing. But again, a mutation can come later on, something, because we knew the SARS in the past. It's a kind of a SARS. So it's not that forever, but I hope that as a world, we will be able to reduce it to very minimal numbers. And then we can be vaccinated regularly, like we take for anti-flu or other things. We can take it once a year, every 2 years or whatever, to protect ourselves.
Here in the Netherlands, a lot of Christians are skeptic about the vaccine. And the same people are enthusiastic about Israel. How do you bring that together?
It's not anything that I can do about it.
No? Do you understand it?
Yeah, I truly know. I did now farewell events, and I had a couple of very good friends, Christian friends, who I tried to make it an event, a safe event, in the sense that I asked people who are not vaccinated or did not contract COVID to take a test. And I had people, very good friends, who decided not to come because...
No, Mr. Gilon, we don't come,
so we had people I had a couple of 2 people or more or less. But it's not, each one can decide for himself what he wants. In Israel, we chose the path of vaccination, and we believe that it's working for us. Each one can take his path. I believe in vaccinations, I personally. And again, it's not a contradiction. One thing is how you decide to live your life. If I agree or disagree, or I think it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. And support to Israel is not necessarily connected. So these are things that are in parallel, not necessarily in contradiction.
Okay. Let's go to another topic about the past 2 years, your time here. That's anti-Semitism here in the Netherlands. Did you experience this yourself as a person, the time you were here?
No. On the personal level, no. But I spoke to people who... So I was in contact with people who did.
Is it rising, you think, here in the Netherlands?
It's a complex issue, anti-Semitism, yes. There are 2 kinds of anti-Semitism in general. There is a traditional one, which is sociological, religious, which we knew from the Middle Ages and beyond. And I think that this one, after the Holocaust, after the Second World War, became politically incorrect. So people felt very uncomfortable being openly anti-Semitic or being suspected as such, and this diminished. But now that we are more and more 75 years from the end of the war, people are less, their feelings of guilt are lesser, and I think that you see a little bit more of this anti-Semitism. Yet, there is a new kind of anti-Semitism, which is, I think, in a way, even more problematic. These are the people who are really anti-Semites, but they want to be politically correct. So they say, we have no problem with the Jews, we have a problem with the Jewish state. So they are against the survival or the existence of the only Jewish state in the world, while there are tens of countries who define themselves as Christian countries or as Muslim countries, there is one country in the world which defines itself as a Jewish state, a very small one, Israel. And these people are trying to delegitimize the existence of Israel. It's not, and it's very hard because they hide behind legitimate criticism of Israeli policies, while if you go further into their views, you understand that it's not about this policy or another policy.
Okay, but it's
against Israel.
Yeah, it's going through each other. You can say you are there and you are there. It's both.
Yeah, and we are surrounded in a way because the old anti-Semitism usually is identified with right-wing parties, and the new one, I think, is more identified with left-wing parties. So whichever way you look, anti-Semites, they have a home, a political home. They can go to and different homes, totally different homes. That one on the right and one on the extreme right and extreme left, and this is a problem.
Okay, let's go to an example. You were a frequent guest on Urk, a little fishing town. You called it the most Israel-minded village of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Where does the love comes from in Urk for Israel?
So I think this love is, you should know, as someone who was born.
Yeah, but I ask you.
I think that this love has historic foundations. Yeah. And I was told, because I was not here, that the mayor of Jerusalem, Teddy Kollek, visited, and this was like a game changer, you know, the mayor of Jerusalem coming here. And when I said what I said about Urk, by the way, it was during the last escalation in Gaza, where they put in the town hall and the Israeli flag, and if you go around also on time of peace, one can find quite many Israeli flags hang on houses of private citizens. So there is a great love in Urk towards the state of Israel.
But how do you explain the incident from 2 weeks ago? You know what it is. Some young people with Nazi costumes, and one of them was dressed as a prisoner with a Jew star on it.
Yeah, very unfortunate. I think that also the city council came out to condemn it and to look into it. I think that among the people who are against the COVID, the whole thing, the movement against the COVID, it's a huge mistake and historic, unjust to compare it to the Holocaust. In the Holocaust, there were the Jews who had to wear, including my father, grandfather, my family, who had to wear the yellow star. They were limited. They had no life. They didn't have food. They didn't have any occupation. They couldn't do anything.
They were no person.
They were not people. They were not persons. And at the end of the story, 6 million Jews were killed, 1/3 of the Jewish population. So in a way, to trivialize, it's to compare the Holocaust to COVID, even if you disagree, it's trivializing the Holocaust. You cannot compare the Holocaust to anything, especially not to a policy of the government that you dislike, and it's okay. It's a free world and free country, but
don't mention the war, you say.
It's not connected to the Holocaust. It's not connected to the Yellow Star. It's not the same treatment. No one is killing you. No one is depriving you of your work and well-being and food. You are limited in a way. You don't like it. Fight it. Don't, fight it politically. Fight it in another way. Publicly, I mean, on the social media.
So is this anti-Semitism or just foolish young behavior?
I think it's lack of judgment more than anything else. I don't think it's anti-Semitism, but they don't understand. I think that the people who are doing it don't understand the sensitivity of the Jewish people to the Holocaust, and I think this is the problem: lack of judgment and maybe even historic background and knowledge of how deep the Holocaust, how bad it was for the Jewish people.
And how can this be prevented, you think?
Education. It's all about, and I think that the city council in Urk and they immediately came out against it, and at the federal level and the parties. So I think education is very important. One of the good things, we spoke about the rise of anti-Semitism. I think then, I remember from last year, the king speaking about his own family during the Holocaust, and then the prime minister speaking about the government, and the Reformed Church speaking about their own behavior. And I think that even 75 years after, some may say it's late, I think better late than never, the people are looking into their own past, their own. It's, of course, the prime minister was not born yet, and the king was not born. They are my age, more or less. but yet they're looking into the past, and this is important because if you look into the past, the chances you repeat the same mistakes in the future are lesser.
So it's a lesson for all of us and a duty.
I think it is. I think it's all about education, and these people don't understand what they're doing. It's not. I don't think it's anti-Semitism, but it's not for them. It's not a great achievement. Let's say it in a.
Let's look at your own future. You're swapping the Netherlands for India, The Hague for New Delhi, and the rain for the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Rain for sun and rain. So
sun and rain. It's also raining in India. Is it a promotion to go to India? It's a much bigger country.
No, promotion. You know, I'm an ambassador. I've been ambassador. I'm a veteran foreign policy diplomat for more than 30 years. I was before ambassador to Italy and now to the Netherlands. It's a new challenge for me. I don't know. It's an important country, but also the Netherlands is important. Yeah. It's a very challenging country. Our relations are very deep. It's a growing country. One of our biggest embassies physically. So, yeah, it's a good challenge and a good mission, as I said, shlichut, as we call in Hebrew. Again, I don't see my work as a normal Israeli diplomat is different than other diplomats. Yeah. For us, it's a question of representing the only Jewish state and our survivability and being part of the national security, in a way, of our country. So when I'm asked to come to the flag, as we say in Hebrew, and go to India and do my best to build the relations with this very important growing power, already important but growing power, I look at it as a great and positive challenge.
And what's going to be your main challenge over there?
Our defense relations are very, very good. Economic cooperation is huge and growing, and development policy, we do there quite a lot of work on agriculture and water systems, technologies, and I think in general, these will be probably the main things I do.
Okay, you're leaving The Hague. Who will be your successor?
My successor, I can already say it because the Dutch government gave its approval for his nomination. His name is Modi Ephraim. He is in charge now of Latin America affairs in the ministry. He's a high-level, very high-level diplomat. Around my age, a very nice guy. I'm sure you will enjoy him, at least as much as you enjoyed me.
Yeah, and what advice you give him when he comes here?
I think that he's very...
Does he have to do and not do?
No, I think he's very experienced. I do not give real advice. As customary between us, when we finish or when you come to the end of your term, you prepare for your successor a list of people or meetings they should do and on topics that are open. And I did that. In general, I think that the relations are very good, by the way, and they will continue being good. Of course, commercially, we have huge relations. Politically, it depends on the political map in both countries. But I think that it's very comfortable and easy to be the ambassador of Israel to the Netherlands because we find here many friends. We have people who like us less in the political system, but we have many, many friends. And for this, I'll use this opportunity maybe to say thank you because I know that among the viewers of Family 7, there are many supporters of Israel. And your support is very important. Israel is a strong country, but we, as diplomats, as a small country, as an isolated country, for us, the support, the moral support, the knowledge that we are not alone in the battle for safekeeping Israel is giving us a boost of energy. And I would like to thank our friends in the Netherlands for their friendship.
So you say goodbye to the friends here in the Netherlands and waving to the new friends in India.
Yes, of course.
We thank you very much, Mr. Naor Gilon, for the past 2 years and for coming to our studio 4 times. And God bless you in your new job in India.
Thank you.
Want dit was Uitgelicht voor vandaag. Dank voor het kijken. Morgen bij Leven en Welzijn. Dan zijn we er weer. Fijne avond en graag tot dan. Dag.